So, and UEFA Champions League games, also a lot of games, and that is a four. Oman expected some winning, and most of them are winning about 95% every year. And you have a preview and games no. Now, if you are the big game between Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain with Bobo and Real Madrid, and then one Madrid share by 5-0 because our team not in the boy and the Karat a team the second team about Champions League out of Kazakhstan. Omu make your debut and Ra into so from inexperience and if we say Xavier Alonso and Ra all game no there will be a lot of changes in the setup but our setup now apart from Valverde one started and Obian himself quite recently Jude Bellingham a player because of injury on started most of the games it is most of the times Valverde, Tchouameni, Adagule and a ball as middle three but eventually Enra Ceballos in start in the Champions League and Obio game Nibia who say one thing na key was experience from Real Madrid Bobo because if not for anything, Vinicius Junior are in Champions League twice. And then right between no and the Master Antonio, how those say in a 4-4-2, 4-5-1 mid block and a carrot for now or mobile, but already they will must exploit your wings now. Now it was so lovely. And what they do is that the moment on exploit, even if there's 1v2 situations because of how good Omoye as wingers now Omoye exploit lateral spaces no of Bobo and the Karat and saw a lot of cuttings into the 18-yard box. Munya easy win 5-0. Kylian Mbappe getting the penalty and over here Vinicius Junior because of the tricks Nibebre. Likewise, I brought a friend Master 20 name that edge with play no. So they had those 5 goals. The beggar said, "Enya di bia M1 Madrid." Eshe Bobo friend Karat by 5-0 because eventually omu minus in the game because omu make omu debut. So it was a good win for Bobo your friend Real Madrid. Atlanta now very very surprising. Obi onim club would be in the Champions League being himself omu very stubborn. And then how they were able to even get the first goal and Dekuma Lukman Nina started Pasalic started in the Lukman starting the first Champions League after say battle so be sign or be ko Inter Milan the contract nation say omo manin ko Inter Milan Enra or started but we club budi for now the likes of Van Aken the likes of the Abante for the Carlos Forbes and one thing about them they say omo very very strong with almost structure in the 4-2-3-1. One thing is, 4-2-3-1 setup, no 4-4-2 without the ball. And the moment of Mukra ball, they're able to progress the ball so well. And when they had the first goal in the second half, let's change this, but look, man, fitness level, we're not a game now. Because when you are more playing time than in the fitness level, ever form. So, Suleiman Abai, and Suleiman Abai, I dare back a boy and say in the second half, we're a game now. Now, club will follow in a 4-5-1 structure, sometimes 5-4-1 structure, defending deep. And Suleiman Abai, because of the takes on the ability to take on players, now ultimately taking a lot of players on to Omunya, the equalizer. And where the equalizer is a wonderful chipping ball, a buy and a ball, a 2-net, passage, a ball, a 2-net. Once again, in the second half, almost 85 minutes, a cross once again from the left hand side, Suleiman Awana, a deflected a ball, a 2-net. So, how they won the game, very surprising because let me feel say Club will be able to get at least a draw. Normally, but eventually, and Sisa, Atletico Madrid once again 5-1. I dare about Atletico Madrid that the form of Griezmann because before say Alvarez now Griezmann a player Okra Bobo friend Atletico de Madrid. Quite unfortunate, almost miss goals, but they were no music conceded. Entrance Frankfurt team where a team of Shagrata Science so 5-1. In the event when how they'll be able to deal with them. And over here, Alvarez and our brand friend Griezmann. Most of the times, no in the Madrid derby, no boy brand here, if any Solot, any Alvarez. One idea key in their game, how they use the right hand side. Llorente and our brand friend is Simeone on the right hand side. Very, very, very effective. So, stop you more. All you need to do is say on the whole left hand side, the defensive side, no. But be a brand friend Chabai any Brown ebono hot na no mu use. So what they do is say Llorente naturally he's a winger. No ma convert na kwakwa right back. So Llorente any abrante your friend is Simeone, Diego Simeone ba no hot no mu use plus Griezmann. Into omo make sure say Barros and no about Barros and Calaga. Wa mo Barros any cookie. Into omo mienu no ade a Calaga yen nim so de ba say the link up play very good and the defense so well. To all up omo goals now what they do is say omo movie Llorente higher on the pitch. Normally, Simeone Ababeka ho plus Abrante friend Griezmann. 83 players in the low this side. Nto munya ball no ano. Almost the movement of Abrante, your friend Alvarez, or rotating in between the two central defenders. No opinion mo. Na balls ni na enamo. They had 5 goals, and the name one say. And on the German side now, omo do me stubborn. Ni kwan so ko bie ball nim. So omo ball no e wo home. What they needed to do is say next time we defend who defending low blocks are now what BM just to frustrate them, but eventually good news say Griezmann any 2 goals he is back, and if not for anything but then the confidence no, so winning by 5 goals to 1 no. Remember almost share 5 Etiabo Boko friend in Madrid and almost share 5 Etiabo Boko friend in Frankfurt into 10 goals in 2 games. And ESA a build with confidence to Papa Ye. Olympic Marseille 4-0. I don't think so. Ope coach Bakwa and the build up play so good. Now o personal won to me Marseille. And obi o Marseille Bobo against Real Madrid the beer who say one sider they have quality at their disposal because they be a team or Agued or Pavard or Emerson or Abrante a friend Greenwood Aubameyang. These are players they've seen it all at the top level of football. Indeed, they have a very good team. And the form even in the Eredivisie, almost struggle and some winning games, and they lost their first game at home. Indeed, playing against Marseille, and I predicted the say definitely Marseille the edge, and the way Marseille see pressure on the moment you press them. Because on board 4-3-3 into Marseille pressing high in the same 4-3-3 setup into up a class now and Joey and I'll be Kenneth Taylor. The moment and Unim and Holland for now, especially Marseille, total football when they free by. So they love to build from the back. So they Marseille for now and say, let's press them. The moment you press them, no more at the ball, no, eventually they have good scorers because Igor, Aubameyang, Greenwood. And then me and Sonny Nina Obia Eshego. Igor had 2 goals, Aubameyang and Greenwood because of high pressing of Bobo and Marseille. Quite unfortunately, I am still no any that form no. Now to the big game. Me who say Chelsea for once again and almost a red card. The first yellow card from Abrante from almost striker João Pedro was needless. Second one there. Now but in Chelsea games no a lot of red cards. They were fortunate to say na on the 90+6 into eventually na almost time no AC and I say yeah lapse almost the 90 minutes plus additional time and yes sir and Kasemfo for best AC. I dey back observing game they say Garnacho had a good game in a 4-2-3-1 setup. Na we obi or game ni bia who say Mourinho more or less like a 4-3-3 but without the ball. Now Mourinho able in a 4-4-2 low blocks and a 5-4-1 low block. So it became very difficult. So when I start passing lanes, no. So then now Omo say, Omo the Tariq George, not always or stepping in between no and a Nicolas and Silva and Otamendi. So now Oyiba Kufim send a bear Omena +1. Finfi and so Castle now Enzo. Then Abrante, the friend of Bonazzi, and then right he had a wonderful game. Now step up game because no more +1 because of say more 4-5-1 and a 5-4-1 most of the times in the game with low blocks +1 no munya won finfi no na eboa ema omutimi widen up play between Neto and Abrante friend Garnacho and over game na Garnacho had a wonderful game and so more Enzo na boka say that in terms of defending ometimi ayama and some more ball also they are able to pass the ball. So over here, but they are actually very good passer of the ball and always now Abrante friend can see the ball no from the defenders, not the ball not up and passing lanes no how to break Mourinho passing lanes to be difficult. But look at the way they had the first goal. The same template omo share Brighton first goal no Caicedo be drop it deep no kwakwo je ball no no man make so me locate wingers no with the passing into almost straight now omo nya wingers na no man cross the ball into the 18-yard box. They had that one goal in the first half. Even with that, Mourinho saying defending so compact. And why Mourinho anymore a team I want look back you and obi onim no from Bobo Kwa. Your friend Xavier Bien say he's a very good winger and not all tormented Chelsea. A trainer papa then Pavard is he needs no introduction. Into these two players are fun to know. Sakokwale movie na osho because look back you know very tricky over pace and ultimate dribble and eventually Chelsea for no and so enya win. Liverpool they have a problem. And Madrid can kasa asemu ya. Obi a wo hwe Liverpool and the Crystal Palace Liverpool game ni bia. One thing and enya ye hu ye. The hu ye ne say Liverpool how we see ball mo ball ni. They say because of say teams no I will show them the ball with low blocks into no. Or push the right back, you know, and then na a Soboslai and a ball no at the right back. And no push it Frimpong, a call wings, the right wing. And then one because we'll be on him Frimpong behind him say, or your player, Xavier Alonso 3-back system, no born as a right wing back. So the defensive duties no ever form, but so side forward that or a very solid. And it's Soboslai on the right hand side. Yema ball on the 3rd minute. And you be display a screen so and as they will see in Crystal Palace game no the Crystal Palace for any say so Liverpool for pussy on my right back you know whether Bradley whether Frimpong e ko ba bia Mo Salah on the right hand side na Mo Salah aban finfi 18-yard box na no ba na omo number 9 no being it Abrante Feniketike a drop deep to the Hurricane no na Frimpong a movie from Bradley, a movie animu. So movie called ring play wa na Mo Salah ababe di infinity together with Abrante friend of Fran Vix. Nti o ma ye 2 ewa animu. Na number 9 no a drop deep. Actually one of the central defenders aba. Into the moment a bear na Gravenberch a movie to the right half space. That is how Liverpool for this show goes to beating low blocks. Teams now much sure man. But eventually, so she first half no, on the 3rd minute, and happen, and Yaldis mom any opportunity no, and one Liverpool pressing, and him say game pressing no, they say and you hope him and effective bill, and the 2 screens so how they defend, defend high pressing, pressing high beam. Akwa more or less like mid pressing, opponents a lot of chance so made to me no and Sawasha so mo with mid pressing na just one player e won finfi it will be a Crystal Palace game ni the Crystal Palace for and say the moment omenya ball no ball no echo the left hand side na no ball no long abam finfi and ball no be doing finfi no. Then Liverpool player back open a DM finfi. It was the reason why I'm advocating say they should buy a DM, sir. Because Liverpool set up no, they have just one DM in Endo in static games. Gravenberch any DM, Soboslai any DM, McAllister any DM, Jones any DM, and Gravenberch and Omobono as a DM. What happens? They say because they say a movie Abrante I find Curtis Jones about the left hand side because Kek is and so push it anymore. Curtis Jones and about better left hand side winning no matter be that Brandt friend of Gravenberch in Kwa. You can say Ferran Vix is no good when he's defended. And he so here sa 3rd minute chance no ball the ban finfi and a bit display I was screen so more ball the ban finfi no na ka just Gravenberch and obusa won say time na Gravenberch gina ho no Abrante friend Torreira nya ball no how the ball make Gundogan no and then one person no the reason being said the instance of DM only it is a or to be ball no straight and the moment a Liverpool defense the ball high line a ball no better no omo break in running because what omo defenders na omo nya mema pa and ball no once again Alisson Becker 1v1 situation with the elders and will save it no it kept happening it is the na Galatasaray for the year and say ye nya ball no a Liverpool for no push so ma be press so me push ya ye nim say Abrante a your friend Kekes eba animu Koka Jones ho enti mfimfini always ebe nipa ba akopɛ so mo utilize numbers ewo mfimfini display obehu omo Tarera abrante a your friend Mario Lemina Ike Gundogan and Akon they become 5 or na and so when 4 and 5 numbers ewo mfimfini as against Liverpool mienu pe in front vex and abrante a your friend Gravenberch and the moment ebe sa no Ike Gundogan is a good passer of the ball now from ball not to space and the ball to space Liverpool for who air show eventually in the second half you buy nyama best sign and I think I come observing say that side for who say the moment you press Liverpool omo bre edi se ye the picture na to so a oba how a omo so call more or less like medium pressing not high pressing but the one who see gina no and Madrid can pressing no ade ba ko ehia pa timing of the pressing into omo pressing no woman Liverpool for no entimi pass ball no through the channels and always oba who say abante your friend no Konate ni Van Dijk nya ball no omo nya obi oba pia be je ball no nti no masan de kwakoma Alisson Becker either so be call long or call long pe na ball na say so Liverpool ewo problem pa one they should get a DM and me maka Kone na owo Roma no I see no reason Manu Kone no Roma no meaning the reason why Liverpool for one fast boy no eventually on priorities no was forwards yes or many forwards no but without the ball a DM obe making sure say links na obe pass the ball no obejina no omunya bi and already the way asa esi you against Crystal Palace pia ball no omo movement ema omunya almost 1v1 situation with the goalkeeper almost 4 times in the first half Alisson Becker any save omo and ka asemu see in the same vein yesterday you hu saade no because unim agun unim ya abrante a the friend Yames Ike Gundogan any Osimena when you anim wa till the moment I want your proper shot for what most especially 2 central defenders on mobile high line no next assembly eventually look at how the penalty in the by side the same thing tell me Liverpool focus on more press no ball longer than 15 ball no ban 15 no or ball ni 2 no because it's supposed like any a proper right back in t no cause swinging arm and a ball no a ball player na or top for my referee penalty eventually Brantia your friend Osimhen echo slotted ball into the net into Liverpool for problems structural problem most especially with how they defend and and most especially how they also press very very poor so eventually they lost again back to back after listening to Crystal Palace Liverpool somebody lose to Bobukua your friend Galatasaray eventually they also have a big game against Chelsea how that ball should they lose against Chelsea and there are a lot of pressure and papa your friend Arna Slot and the games war